Hi, so welcome to Monaco. I said in the last video I'd speak a little bit about drinks, and I thought I'd wait to Monaco to do that because I think a lot of people come to Monaco really for the party side of things. It's the glitz and glamour race of the Formula One season, and I think for the team people as well, we don't drive on a Friday, so it gives a good opportunity for the teams to have their team party on the Thursday night, knowing that it's not such a heavy day on the Friday. So when it comes to the drinking, the partying side, obviously there's lots of different ramifications, if you like. I think if you're trying to live a healthier life, then obviously one of the issues with the alcohol is calories. And I think when it comes to the calories, I think it's just something to be aware of. So if you look at a bottle of wine, whether it's red wine, white wine, you're looking, okay, these are averages because every wine's a little bit different. But your average bottle of wine is going to contain somewhere between 600 and 800 calories. Pint of lager, you're looking around about 180 to 200. Shots of spirits are around about 50, 60, but then it depends really what you mix with them. So I don't think that's going to really stop people so much from drinking if they want to party, but it's something just to be aware of. When it comes to obviously the other side of drinking, obviously it's what happens the next morning. So it's more the hangover, the feeling like crap in the morning that you want to try and avoid if you can, or at least try and accelerate the recovery process from. So in terms of what happens within the body when we go out and party, obviously you're going to be drinking a lot. So one implication is dehydration. And when we look at especially what happens to the head in dehydration with the headache stuff, the body, alcohol's a diuretic, so the body's going to get rid of a lot of fluid, and the body will try and draw fluid from wherever it can. And one of those places is the brain. So when we wake up the next morning, we've got the thumping headache. It's really just all the fluid's been sucked out from everywhere. So you've lost a lot of B vitamins because B vitamins are water soluble. Vitamin C levels will be low. You would have lost vitamin A. There's lots of things like this that are going to negatively affect you. Electrolytes are another one. So in terms of different strategies that might be able to help with this, if you're sitting down for dinner, number one, don't drink on an empty stomach. This is the quickest way, number one, to get drunk, and number two, to have the negative effects of alcohol build up. The body can't get rid of alcohol very quickly, so the body can get rid of about 1 unit per hour. So the alcohol goes into our system, into the stomach, and then gets shuttled straight to the bloodstream, and the body tries to eliminate it because it's a toxin, so it sends it to the liver. And like I say, the liver can really just deal with this 1 unit per hour. The rest of it just circulates around. And when we look at a hangover itself, the worst point is when the last bits of alcohol are leaving the body. But like I say, if you're going out for an evening meal, try, if you can, if you're having the wine or the drinks on the table, just have jugs of water there. If you can manage, I know water is very boring and it sounds like a really sort of boring topic, but if you can just drink water in between the drinks that you're having, you're going to go a fairly long way to stop yourself getting so dehydrated. Spice it up a little bit. Like I say, water's boring. If you put lemon or lime slices into the water, then at least you're creating a little bit of extra taste. But if you can do that periodically throughout the night, you're again just trying to prevent some of this dehydration. Other things that you can try and do, again, when it comes to the food, I think there's this misconception that the greasy fry up the next morning is the best way to get rid of a hangover. And I think in a way hangover is a little bit like jet lag. Everyone comes up with their own cures, they find something that works for them. So again, this is a very individual thing, but if we go away from the head and the negative effects of dehydration on that and look at the stomach's very irritated from the alcohol, and you feel quite often bad in the stomach the next morning. And things like the fry-ups, greasy food is an irritant for the stomach, so it can have a negative impact on how the stomach feels. Orange juice is another good example. It's very acidic, so again it can have quite a negative effect on the stomach in the morning. But if we look at the other side, if you want to have your, I don't know, burger for example, or some of the sort of fattier foods like that, before you go drinking is a better time to do that, because it will help create some sort of insulation for the stomach. It slows the process of alcohol getting into the stomach and then into the bloodstream. So before you go out and drink is a better time to have some of these things. In terms of towards the end of the night, again, mixing alcohols is, as you probably well know, one of the recipes for disaster. So if you mix all sorts of different alcohols together, then you're going to feel worse the next morning. And I think I'm not telling you anything you don't already know there. Again, if you can manage to drink some water throughout the night, it will be good. One possible solution, again, when we look at the dehydration side of things, is just having some sort of supplementation. So I've got a couple here that they're all kind of like run-of-the-mill things. There's one company called HealthSpan Elite, which does something called Active Hydrate, and it also does another formulation, Immunity Plus. And these really just contain a lot of the electrolytes that you're going to be missing that would have gone from the body through your evening of drinking. If you can put one of these by the bedside with a bottle of water, when you get to bed, if you can remember, if you're compos mentis enough, then just to pop one of these effervescent tablets into a bottle of water and drink it before you go to bed. Again, you're putting those electrolytes, fluids, B vitamins, etc., all the stuff you would have lost into your body, so you will go some way to reducing that dehydrating effect the next morning. There's another one here from Emergency. It's just a vitamin C and B vitamin sachets. But like I say, this will all help. The dehydration really is the one thing you can do something about if you remember. In terms of the other foods that help the next morning, again, it's very individual. But I mentioned something about the irritants for the stomach for things like the greasy foods. If we look at some of the other options, ginger tea, peppermint tea are quite good things to have in the morning. Ginger in particular, it has lots of positive effects, one of which it will help control blood sugar level to a certain degree, which will be very low after a night of drinking. But it also helps aid digestion and can soothe the stomach. Same with the peppermint tea, so that might not be your cup of tea per se, but things like coffee I think are the things we would normally go for in the morning. And again, when we're already dehydrated, caffeine is a mild diuretic, so it's going to increase more of the dehydration side of things. But from a caffeine point of view, if you're used to having caffeine, then like I say, go ahead and have the coffee, but just be aware that you want that with a lot of other fluids. Certain other foods, really weird one, but miso soup is, like I say, I haven't actually tried this, I just heard it a wee while ago and thought it was quite an interesting one. But miso soup, you're going to be replacing a lot of the sodium that you would have lost, so it's an electrolyte. The fermented miso can have a positive effect on digestion and help soothe the stomach, so it might be worth trying. Who knows, it might give you some sort of relief in the morning. The other sort of things are coconut water. Coconut water tends to contain 5 of the different electrolytes, whereas most typical sports drinks just look at 2. So coconut water is a good thing to maybe try in the morning just to help ease that dehydration off. In terms of other foods, eggs are very good. So eggs, you're going to be replacing things like vitamin A. You've got all of the different 9 essential amino acids in the eggs. Avocados are very good as a healthy fat. Oatmeal is good, it will have a soothing effect on the stomach. It will help up the blood sugar level a little bit. You've got a lot of the B vitamins in there, other positive nutrients. Bananas, very good in terms of, there's an argument for having one of these before you go to bed, just from the potassium levels in the banana, it will help a little bit. Again, what can you stomach the next morning after a few drinks the night before? If banana is not really your thing, then it might make you feel worse. But from what's in it could be positive. You could look at some sort of banana smoothie. Again, smoothie might not appeal. Rest is an important one. So if you can have a lot of rest in the morning, that will also help the recovery process. So this is by no means a be-all and end-all of recoveries and hangover cures, but it's just something to bear in mind. The thumping headache is going to come from dehydration, so that, like I say, is something you can do quite a lot about. What you put into your body during the night, lining the stomach with food before you start drinking is a good idea. Trying to stick to a certain type of alcohol throughout the night, not mix it too much, is a good idea. And then, like I say, good luck with the recovery. It depends how much you drink, how hammered you are before you go to bed, and what you remember to do before you go to bed. If you can remember one of these effervescent tablets or sachets, it will help. And then, like I say, whatever you found to work the next morning with what you eat, like I say, it's a very individual thing, but you could try some of these other options. So see how you get on. Good luck with it. Hopefully, if the morning's bad, the night before would have been very good, so at least you got some fun out of it. So I will see you from Canada and think of another topic to talk about. If you would like me to talk about a certain topic, then by all means let me know, and I'll create something around that.